Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dave's Aquarium Thoughts. This is Aquarium Late Night Aquarium Thoughts. Anyways, hello, everyone. Hello, Carrie Corridorable, Myrtle Singh, Mickey M, Anthony, hello, Danican Aquatics, hello as well. I Hate Stupid People. Let's see who else is there. Hey, Anthony, how's it going? Alan Matthews, Pose, how's it going? Let's see, Tank Top Tropics, hello. Roundhouse Aquatics. Aquarium Cop, hello as well. I hope everyone's doing well today. Hey, R-Man. Hey, Tiffany White. Hey, Rocco's Fish Room. How's it going? Hey, Sandy Doltry. Hey, George with the Aquaballs. Hey, Patty. How's it going? Thanks for hitting that like button. Thanks, Patty, for reminding people to hit that like button. And hopefully you guys have already netted that subscribe button, fed that bell. But I guess if you are here right now, I'm guessing you are already subscribed, but hello for all those who are actually watching as well. Hello as well to you guys. Tonight I will be talking about how to have your tank survive the zombie apocalypses that happen. I know recently last week we had the big old cold snap down through the south and a lot of electricity issues down in Texas. I'll be touching on a little bit of pretty much across the kind of having an open discussion for the most part on how to prepare ourselves. Hey, Bird Garden, how's it going? Hey, Pepperland Creeks Aquatics, Third Coast Aquatics, hello. Of course, some of these people are in the chat, probably dealt with a lot of that power issues and the cold snap that we had last week. I didn't really have to deal with that here in Southern California. Deborah Lewis, hello. Big J's Fish Keeper, how's it going? And Jeffrey Watts. I think I got everyone so far, as well as Sandy Remiker as well. So for the first post, I just want to talk about how we prepare for that and what should we always have on hand, because I think that's the one thing that always gets overlooked is what emergency stuff should we have on the ready. Not just, okay, something bad happen, we need to go run out and get that, because a lot of times if you're in a complete area that's kind of having some kind of disaster, you're not going to be readily able to actually go out and get that kind of stuff. Hey, Midnight Lobster, hey, Chevy Fish, Gurias, hello. And later on, I'll probably do a little giveaway as well. Probably it's the normal one I do every week, just a nice and simple one. Just a $10 gift card to aquariumthoughts.com, which is one thing I do want to touch on here as well right now. Generator is probably a good start, and not just for generating stuff in your house. So let me go ahead and touch a few changes I did on the website. I did add a few little sections. One is the quarantine tank, which is all the new stuff I have put up on the site, which goes in the quarantine tank, which is all the new stuff. And then you have the show tank on this side, which is going to be the stuff that I pick out that I recommend. Not necessarily because that's what I make money on. Is just things I like personally, stuff that I would probably look at getting. But other than those two sections, I did add a few new products, a couple new designs. Let's see, I mean, you have the elevator, which has been there for a week, but primarily there's two of them I really want to focus on. Actually, there's three different. One's part of a product, but this is one of the T-shirts I put up recently, which is "Fish Keeping is My Therapy," which is this one right here. That's one of the new designs I put up, as well as, where's the other one? I think I put another one up. Unless I'm thinking I did, but I didn't. Which that could be the case. Let me see here. Yeah, that's the case. The other thing I put up there was these two signs right here, which is this one's a metal sign and this one's a wooden sign that pretty much say no fishing in the fish room. So that's basically what's new in the store. The new store rocks and the new shirt rocks. Thanks very much, Poe. I kind of do like that as well. I do like how it came out. There's actually two variations. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep both of them up. One is with my logo, which you saw, and this one is basically a little heart with a fish right there. I don't know if it'll. Let me see if I get to. Yeah, there it goes. And that's the second variation right there. One has my logo and one has that little fish in the heart. So that's basically the changes I have there. Anyways, who did my logo? Was it expensive? I went through Kevin Mills, who does findyournemo.com. I went through him. That's who I went through to get my logo, which is in the upper right-hand corner, which is right there. If I'm going by what I'm seeing on my screen right there. That was done from Kevin Mills. I think I only paid him $50 for it. Though keep in mind, it did take about a year and a half to actually finally receive the logo. But yeah, I will be having stickers. I will be setting that up probably this week once I do a video for it. I'm not gonna go through my email channel. I know a lot of people say, okay, email me and I'll send you some stickers. My problem with that is I would lose the information. I'm going to set it up so you just go through my website and you just order them through there. I will have a free option, so you don't even have to pay for them. So don't worry about that. I'm still giving them out for free if you request them. So that's not going to be the issue there. I just want something where I could actually easily organize all the orders, all the people who actually want the sticker. That way I have a record that way. Because I'm going to be able to easily keep track of it there, because I do have an order system there where I could actually pull from there. So I will have stickers. Let me go ahead and post his website on the chat right now, which is findyournemo.com, which is that's shop right there. But anyways, I guess we should actually go ahead and start and talk about what the subject is, which is preparing for disaster. Step number one, of course, is always making sure you do have plans for these. Me being in the earthquake country, I do have to have plans for that, not only for my family and myself, but as well as my fish tanks as well, which I'm going to touch on a little bit later. See here. Yeah, where is that one? First question. Problem is, I see is fish keepers would rather spend that money on more tanks and fish. I do agree with you. Let me see what Delilah said. Delilah's critters, I do have some options for V-neck options, though I don't have it on every design. I will go through them and make sure I do have some V-neck options as well. So stay tuned to that as well. So I will try that. Let me see here. Okay, that's what Delilah says. Okay, I do wish I saw more people in public wearing a fish keeper tee. We're such a small percentage. Okay, so anyways, this is going to be an open discussion. So if you have any suggestions in the chat, feel free to actually put up in the chat. But first of all, supplies that you're going to definitely need. Generators, of course, is a nice option if you could afford one. Although there's other options if you can't, although they're not going to be as reliable as actually having a generator. Keep in mind with a generator, you also probably want to actually power your refrigerator and other things. So you got to also, if you want to use it for your fish equipment, that's another thing. You got to have to budget that emergency energy to actually account for that as well. One thing I probably would do in that case is shut down anything in those aquariums that you don't necessarily need to run on a generator. Of course, don't power the lights. Probably look for like maybe an air pump system where you actually pump air, or something that's more energy efficient in terms of filtration. But yeah, generator's always a good one. But also make sure you also have enough power from that generator to actually run what you need to run with your fish tanks as well. I know some, I guess Ford was in the news on that, where I guess some of their newer F-150s actually had a generator built into them. So if you have that, that might work. I don't know how much power they put out, but that's the one thing you also have to account for. okay, how much power do I need when the lights go out? Other things you might want to make a battery wall. A battery wall would be nice, especially if you have solar energy. Getting that power wall might be a good suggestion as well. That way you're running off the solar throughout the day and throughout the night, as well when the power goes out. Although I have seen some reports for people who actually were on solar and the power goes out and their power still goes out. So you might want to look into that as well. So if you're in a solar powered house, you do want to check and see what happens when the power in your neighborhood goes out too as well. Because I think it was about maybe a few months ago, the power went out in California, and there were some reports on the news where people on solar, their power was still going out even though they had solar. So that is one thing you do definitely want to check. Aquaball says, I know someone just died from a generator. The dummy put the generator in the house. Oh, yeah, always when you do have generators, make sure you are doing it safely. Make sure you have the proper setup and do not turn the generator inside the house. You definitely want to keep that outside the house. Lock it up securely as well. Personally, I wouldn't worry too much about filtration, although I do have a box full of battery-powered air pumps. That's the other thing you do want to have as well. That's another option as well. They do have battery-powered air pumps. I have a few of those lying around. Personally, I mean, filtration-wise, all you really need to do in terms of filtration is just getting water flowing in that aquarium. That way the water doesn't stagnate, and that way you could get some flow through the beneficial bacteria that lies on your surface of your aquarium. If you own your house, $5,000 is a small price to pay for a permanent generator in your backyard. Definitely. Definitely. But I mean, it's always good to prepare, especially if you're in zones that you know that definitely you will have issues. I probably should have a generator. Being an earthquake country, that could happen where I might be out of power for forever, however long that takes, especially if it's a big earthquake. Luckily, where I'm at, it's not in a liquidation zone, so that's one less worry for myself, but it's still a danger out there. Another things in terms of cold you might want to consider is heat blankets, blankets that you can actually lay over your aquariums. That way you can actually keep the heat in. That way you're not worrying about the heat dissipating. Because if it's getting cold, you definitely do not want cold aquariums. I know there's one thing on TikTok that went around, which was a fish tank inside the house got frozen over. Having a reflective trauma blanket handy if you're running heated tanks in power outages. Yeah. Oh, good night. Good night, Kenny. Have a good night. But yeah, having that kind of stuff available on hand, mind you, because you do not want to be running out to get the stuff. Because basically by the time you do that, your tanks are getting cold. You're dealing with other people that are out and about trying to get emergency supplies. Thing with emergencies is always being prepared. Being in sunny California with the earthquake issue, I have to make sure I have food on hand. I have to have water on hand, and that's just for my family life. that's what they recommend for family. I'm not even talking about my tanks or whatnot. But you definitely want to have that kind of stuff on hand. So you have the blankets, you have the generator if you get one. You have the battery-powered air pumps that are come in handy. Another thing you can actually look into, I actually have these running in my outdoors in my pond, which I do have some solar-powered air pumps, although those are only going to be working during the day when you actually have sunlight. And as well, you have to have a way to get that solar. It's a small little solar light, so you have to find a way to get a sunny area outside as well and run that into your house some way. So yeah, food, water, batteries, flashlight. Okay, collaboration of curiosities brought up a good point with the solar USB charger. That would be a good option as well. Is buy a few of those. and you could buy those little USB air pumps that you could easily hook up to the solar USBs, and just you could have those charging outside. And when you're ready to use them inside, you bring them inside. Yeah, I have a bunch of splice blankets in that same box with the air pumps. Also, Natural Aquariums is already set for all this. Luckily, where I'm at, I really don't have to worry about the cold too much. But like Texas, that was an issue because they don't get that cold snap very often. And what made their situation worse was their power went out at the same time. If their power stayed on, it wouldn't have been so bad because you'd been able to heat your aquarium, you'd be able to heat your home. But the problem was the power, what's the word for it? The power grid in Texas didn't really keep up with the demand for whatever reason. I'm not going to go into the specifics on that because that is not something I researched. Kerosene heaters to correct windows. I know. During the Texas thing, they were running. I don't know how well those would work, but they had these like little terracotta pot heaters. I don't know if they actually work or not. It's just something that was going around, which was something that was kind of disputed. There's a lot of debate of whether they work or not. On principle, knowing how hot the candles could get, I think it's plausible, but it's not something I tested. So I would not know offhand. But always make sure you have a way to actually heat where you need to be, especially in terms of your fish. Okay, onward. Okay, so S is saying they work. Yeah, I know some people debated if they worked or not. On principle, I could see how they did work. Just some people tried to say no, they wouldn't work. But if you're heating something, it's going to radiate heat. It doesn't matter just finding a way something to actually radiate it. I'm not sure how well they do it, but if you're in a small area and closed off, the heat should maintain. Awesome. Delilah's critters. Someone actually here already ordered one of those, and it came out great. They sent me a picture, and it does look awesome. Just let me know how it goes when you actually get it. I just want to make sure it doesn't break in transit. His came fine though, so. Wood heater, keep the house warm. Yes, it would. There you go. There you go. There's the person who bought it. I don't want to mention any names, but not that it's a bad thing. I just didn't want to disclose stuff that I don't know if the person wanted me to disclose. Because some people could get a little iffy about sharing out what they bought or whatnot. So personally, I have a lot of wine glasses and liquor glasses, which I don't even use for liquor and wine myself. So let's see here. Yeah, that's the other issue. This is why you do want to make sure that you're actually prepared. You actually have stock on hand rather than waiting for the when you actually have that emergency. Basically, needed diapers for the daughter, and the lady wouldn't let me in middle of the day because of looting. Because basically, if you're doing in the middle, you have some issues where people are not going to want you in because they fear like bad things happen. Roundhouse Aquatics, insulate the sides, back, and bottom of the tank. That might be a good option as well if you can. Keep on hand some insulation foam, and you could actually just cover the sides, including the front, because you're not going to need to really see the fish. You just want to make sure it's the temperature maintained. Insulate the sides, and insulate the top. Let's see. Always wondered about converting plugs to USB to run things by solar charger. Let's see. Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, it depends on what you're hooking up. If the device can run on that voltage, you're fine. What I used to do on mine, I had a cabinet that was running computer equipment, and I wanted to pull out the hot air, So I got these computer fans, and I just hooked them up to a USB cord. I cut the wires and hooked them up to the USB cord and plugged in the USB, and they ran fine. Fill the whole room head to toe with fish tanks to insulate as much as possible. That would be quite messy. That's the other thing you have to be careful on as well, because you don't want the insulation getting into the fish tank. Let's see. Could you pre-charge them with a heating lamp or something? Preheat what? I suppose I suppose you could probably preheat stuff to put in there, but I would worry about burning the fish. But I'm not quite sure in what the Midnight Lobster was referring to. I do think you need a small room, though, and several of those terracottas. Talking about the terracotta warrant thing. Okay, I'm guessing Midnight Charger is probably maybe talking about the terracottas. Patty has insulation that wraps. Deborah Sanders mentioned hot water tank wrap. Yeah, I mean, that would be perfect, because that's specifically what it's made for. It's made for actually hot water tanks to keep the heat in. Basically, you just want something insulated to keep the heat from escaping from what you have. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I'm back. But yeah, this solar USB pump is probably a good one to actually. Yeah, there is a solar USB pump out there as well. I know Ben Ochard did a review on it, and he likes it. I forget the brand, but if I can, I'll put a link in the description after the fact. And basically, that air pump sounds pretty good. Well, it's not a solar one actually, but there is a USB air pump, which actually has a battery attached to it, and basically you plug it in. When the power goes out, it actually turns on and aerates the aquarium as well. Yeah, so set my aquariums in rack, insulation foam, bottom covered. That's always a good start if you actually keep the bottom covered as well. Although, if I'm not mistaken, glass is a pretty decent insulator to begin with. Okay, Alan Matthews, this is in terms of the flower pot heaters. Law of conservation of energy, flower pot heaters don't provide extra heat. They take time to absorb heat, then radiate the heat they absorb. Total output doesn't change. Yeah. But on the flip side, you also have heat to deal with as well. When it gets super hot, that is the one thing I do have to worry about is if, say, it's a hot series of days, when it gets up to 100 degrees outside, if it gets hot in the house, I do have to worry about my tanks getting extra hot. One thing you can do on that is you get water bottles or ice packs or whatnot. You have them ready in the freezer. When the tanks get too hot, you take the water bottle out. That's ice. You just go ahead and stick it in the aquarium to cool down the water. That's one option that I've seen people recommend. Not that I really have to worry about it too much because my house is air conditioned. But if the power goes out, then I won't have that air conditioning. So, oh yeah, right. That I think is the brand that Ben Ochart did a review on, which is the Cobalt USB pumps as primary and will easily shift to battery in a power outage situation. That's exactly the one that I was talking about. Chattanooga Ed had a great stream tonight. Delia enjoyed the topics. Welcome back, Ed. How's it going? So basically, there's a lot of different things you have to worry about in terms of when it's too cold and when it's too hot, especially if the power goes out. That's primarily when it becomes the issue. If your power doesn't go out, you're probably fine. Because basically, if the power goes out and it's too cold, you have your heaters, but then of course your electricity bill goes up the roof. When it's too hot, then that becomes a little issue. Then you have to worry about AC or something to cool down the waters. Natural aquariums. Also, this is another option, is running a fan over the surface of the water for evaporative cooling, which does work. The one thing you will experience on that, though, is a lot of water evaporation, and you'll be losing water out the yin-yang just due to evaporation, because basically that's how it works. Water evaporates, it cools down the area, including the water. But that's one thing you have to keep in mind, is making sure that you actually have the water issue solved on that. Preferably having a lot of RO water that you actually change out for that. Do not use tap water per se to actually fill up the tanks after that. Sorry to hear that, Tank Topics. Tank Top Topics. Speaking of power outage, I'm out of power right now here in Texas. Got all of the weather. At least it's warmer down there now, from what I've heard. Yeah, too hot on koi holding tank this summer. Large drum fan blowing across surface saved the day. Water refill with quarter water to helped. That's one thing I'm gonna have to worry about this summer, is making sure my outdoor fish keeping tubs are fine. I do have it on an auto water change system, which will add water throughout the day. And I also did bury them down into the ground a little bit to actually help with at least some insulation down below the level somewhat. George, got a question for you from Patty. What brand of hygrometer is the best and most reliable? Let's see here. But another thing I do want to touch on is other disasters like earthquakes. How do you prepare for that? This is pretty much why I really wanted to touch the subject this week. Not necessarily for what happened in Texas, although that kind of ties in as well to this whole overlapping subject. If the Texas thing didn't happen, I probably would just focus on earthquakes. But since that happened, I might as well just go over the whole fact and making sure we're all prepared. And of course, if you do have any other suggestions for what we should be having in terms of preparation, make sure you put that in the chat as well. And if you're watching the rewatch, make sure you put in the comments down below as well. How do we prepare for earthquakes? Which is now this whole thing of how I prepared on my Mbuna tank has been put into question after someone left a comment on one of my videos when I actually showed the earthquake video from the 7.1 from a couple years ago, where you actually see the water level sway. And of course, let's see, Third Coast Aquatics, straps holding your racks and hope for the best. See, that's the whole that is the whole controversy I found when trying to research this answer to this question. Because the person who actually asked the question said, okay, how do you strap the aquarium so it doesn't fall without causing any kind of issues with the aesthetics? Clear straps, I don't know. But during that research, because basically how I have my Mbuna tank right now, I actually have it strapped to the stud in the wall. So the stand is fine, but the tank is just sitting on top of the, stand, which I'm hoping that the weight of the aquarium will kind of keep it steady right there, where, yeah, it might move a bit here and there, but it won't be as drastic as to actually tip over and fall. One forum I visited said that attaching the aquarium stand or aquarium to the stud is not a good idea, which is what I kind of want some feedback on. They're saying it's not a good idea because basically if the earthquake sways the aquarium, that the aquarium will pull the stud out as well. I do want to know, what is your thoughts on that? Hey, Corey Franco, how's it going? Thanks for that. So basically, what is your thought about attaching the tank and or aquarium to a stud. Anyone familiar with construction? Any knowledgeable on the earthquake issue? Is it safe to actually attach to the stud? S is saying give the rack some leeway. Do not bolt it in. Give some leeway. Now, S, the way I actually have attached, it's kind of just like these flimsy metal things, which will give it some leeway, but it'll kind of tug. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but that's how I have it attached. I don't have it attached with like a stiff metal. I just have it attached to where it kind of would just kind of prevent it from actually tipping over. Not only for earthquakes, just by general use. Boy. But now this whole search kind of made me rethink that, actually bolting it in or attaching it to the stud, which I'm definitely have to do a lot more research on. So if anyone out there wants to give other things, I think I'm kind of leaning towards what S is saying. Give the rack some leeway and don't bolt it in. Now, when you say leeway, what do you mean by leeway, S? Hey, still in your. How's it going? I'm probably butchering that, sorry, but I hope you forgive me on that. If you saw my last name, I have my last name butchered all the time. What about the bracket attachments that are out there now for kid-proofing furniture? There's some give so the unit moves but doesn't tip over. See, that's the whole thing. That's pretty much how mine is attached, where it has some give, but if it gets to a point, but then what I saw on the forum is saying that don't attach it to the stud because then it could pull the stud down and cause bigger issues in the house. Which I might have to just bite the bullet and talk to some kind of structural engineer and see what they say. But I mean, but as always, even with earthquakes and other disasters, even if the tanks don't fall, you still have to have the other prep work. You have to have the energy issues. And here's another big thing: is you always want to make sure that you always want to make sure you're on top of your water changes in these instances, because one thing you're not going to be able to do in these instances a lot of times is you're not going to get the chance to actually do water changes because you're going to be worried about water for yourself to drink. And you're not going to be wanting to use that water in the fish tank, primarily because you're going to need a source of drinking water. And personally, I mean, even though we have these tanks of water, I'm not quite sure on how well we actually want to drink that water. Although my thinking is if you have one of those life straws, it might be an option. Not that I want to do that because, of course, I need the water for my fish to live in. But so basically, I mean, you probably do want to hold off on your water changes. And you always want to make sure you're on top of your water changes. So when that disaster does hit, you don't have to worry about it. You get to let it go for a little bit longer. But if you're not on top of your water changes, then you're going to be putting off water changes that you already been putting off, and you're just creating bigger issues down the road. So I hope that made sense to everyone out there. But let's see, what else? What else haven't I touched on? And then of course you're gonna have some disasters that you're gonna be in a situation where it's just not. It's not gonna matter what you do, how you prepare. It's just not gonna work. Okay, still in you saying pitcher filters can help a lot, tons. Which I'm guessing if you want to drink your fish water, because then the thing I'm not sure on is what about the chemicals you use to actually dechlorinate your water. Personally, me, I'd probably be fine because all my water is actually not chemicalized. It's actually run through a whole house filter, so that's my way of dechlorinating it. Natural Aquarium says, if the earthquake is so severe that it breaks the stud, I think you're screwed anyways. Yeah, I think if it gets to a point where the earthquake is so severe that it breaks the stud, I think I am screwed because I'm pretty sure that aquarium will probably be in the floor anyways. Aquaballs is in disasters every day. Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, if you're in a disaster big enough, no matter prep work is actually going to help you, except for getting you. Because one thing you definitely do want to focus on first and foremost is your life as well as your family. Everything else is going to be primarily secondary. I mean, you're still going to want to actually take care of your fish if you can, as well as your pets. Anthony, filter it, whatever you want. Not drinking pee and poop water. Oh, Anthony, at some point, that water that you drink has been pee and poop water because that water runs through the rivers, runs through the lakes. I know here in Southern California, it does seep down through the soil and sand and gets filtered that way. I walked yesterday. I found 60 gallons of water everywhere. That worked out. Okay, GRB, Dave, not really a disaster, but do you have any issues with prolonged extreme heat waves over? GRB, that is kind of that's kind of the same point as well. GRB, that is included on this because that would be an issue where this fish room disaster with the first most, where you do have to be prepared for those heat waves. Personally, I didn't have an issue because my house was air conditioned the whole time. So the power didn't go out. So my indoor ones were fine. I would have to worry about the ones outside. But I did mention this earlier. GRB is keeping stuff in the freezer, like bottles of water, ice packs, and stuff like that. They get actually tossed in the aquarium to actually cool it down. Keep a rotation of them, so you actually have a rotation to help cool down the water. Probably constant water changes would probably help as well, having cooler water in there. But you want to kind of limit that so you don't get too crazy on it. The other thing that was brought up was the fans over the top. We actually use evaporative cooling to actually help cool down your tanks as well. Delilah's curse. My pets are my family. If there's emergency, I'll be like the crazy woman running out of the house with my nanos. Yeah. I mean, personally, in emergency, the one thing you do want to take care of first, of course, is yourself and those around you. Make sure that they're safe, because if you perish, if your family perishes, it's not going to be, everything else is not going to be a point. But yeah, you definitely want to make sure everything that living you can save, within reason, of course. Boy, collaborative curiosities. Filled sandwich bags with water, froze them just in case I have to cool mine down. Oh, that's one thing I do need to do. But I do have one of those vacuum pack sealers. What I could actually do is I could actually make my own ice packs. I could actually seal the bag and actually seal them with water, freeze them for a later point in time. So when I do need them, I gotta have that. Another thing you could probably do as well, if you have to really cool down your fish tanks. What do you have any frozen vegetables in your? If you have like anything frozen that you could actually spare, something that you're not going to eat, put into some sandwich bags and toss them in your aquarium to cool down the water that way. Or if you have to defrost something, seal it real good in a watertight thing and just stick it in your aquarium to actually cool down and defrost that way. That'll cool down the water as well. Let's see. My fish and planned power outages made me buy a generator. Fortunately, where I'm at, I haven't really had that much issue with power outages, luckily. But that is the one thing I do need to go out and research, as well as for me, is generators and what happens when the power goes out. Especially being where I'm at in earthquake country. It's something I'm going to need for myself as well. Airtight containers do work as well. Yeah, anything airtight, ice packs or whatnot would work. Of course, you also do want to follow always want to follow the same situation is you don't want to put in anything in there that you think that could leak and foul your water. So, I mean, ice packs you want to use with caution. I don't know, because some of those ice packs are filled with certain substances on the inside that you might not want in your water. So even those ice packs, you might want to wrap in something airtight as well. So anyways, I believe the apocalypse is coming, so I'm only going to keep rice fish from now on, and they'll be fine. Yeah, nice. Cool down the tank and then grill up a nice steak dinner. Yep. I mean, as long as you seal up what you're defrosting perfectly, that should be fine. Although you want to be careful that you're not getting of course, the meat juices and whatnot in your aquarium, and you probably don't want to put it into your piranha tank and have the piranha go after the food that's in there. So you definitely want to make sure it's perfectly sealed off so you don't have that issue. What else can you do to prep for stuff? Okay. And Iraq put up a perfect comment. Be sure to pull sponges and filter cartridges for cleaning before power restart. Yeah, if you're not running your sponges and whatnot, you probably do want to actually make sure that they're cleaned out before restarting. And especially one thing you do want to do is if your power's been going off for a long period of time, is I would personally, if you have a prolonged power outage, unplug all your hang on the backs, unplug your what's it called? Unplug your canister filters, so when the power does go up, they don't automatically restart. Because you're going to actually want to clean those out before you restart them, which is exactly what Rack's pointing. Rack with Bird Gardens pointing out is be sure to pull the sponges and filter cartridges and do a good, pretty decent cleaning on that before you restart. Now, I'm not saying to actually clean off all the beneficial bacteria that might still be living there, but just make sure it's a nice, clean thing. Pose, yes. You also need a plan for what to do if you're in an accident or have to go to the hospital in an emergency. That's the other thing as well. You do want to plan for, okay, what's going to happen when I'm not there anymore, when I'm stuck in the hospital, when I'm stuck, whatnot. What's going to happen to your fish? You have a backup plan for someone to actually take care of the aquariums, which this goes back to another thing I said previously, is always make sure you're on top of your water changes and any other maintenance that you have to do. Because if something comes up and disrupts that and you're not on top of it as is, it's just gonna stack up that problem. Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably be mad too if the haka ate the ribeye, which is always one thing you also want to consider. Okay, what fish do I have in there? Will that fish go and try to get what's into that package? So you might not want to do that in your haka tank. Let's see. Hey, Jesse, how's it going? Let's see, with how many I have, they'll all be dead. Oh yeah, this right here is what I was talking about earlier. Jeffrey Watts says, my girl got solar panels with no battery backup, so when the power went out, I still had to go start up her generator. Now, Jeffrey, was that during the day as well, or just the night? Because one thing I read is basically even during the day, those with solar panels, in some instances, still their power went out. It was some kind of agreement that they had with the power company where the grid went out, they also went down as well. Which is one thing you do want to research. What happens to my solar power when the grid goes down? Because not all solar panel systems are equal in that aspect. Where if the power grid goes down, even during the day when you actually have solar out there, I've read some news articles stating that their lights went out as well. Let's see here. Let me see if I can pull up that. Let me see if I can find that article real fast here. That's not what I wanted. So I don't know if I can find that article right now because I think it's been a few months. Let's see, power out, solar panels don't work. Let's see if I can find that out. Let's see, I'm just finding articles about the Texas thing that happened. So it's, I'm not going to be able to find anything on that. Let me put California, because I think this happened in California probably like 6 months ago, I think. National Geographic has an article, but I didn't read it. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure, because all I'm seeing is everything that's going on in Texas. That's what I'm finding on the news articles right now. So that's one thing you do want to check into. I looked in batteries years ago, but they were expensive and did poorly in the cold. That's the one thing. When you have batteries, they do not actually function well in the cold. So that's the thing as well. I mean, yeah, you have batteries, but they really don't work out as well when they're cold, which is one issue that they're trying to solve with all these electric vehicles coming out. As technology advances, that should be taken care of. Good night, Bird Garden Rex. Good night. Have a good night. Let's see here. Yeah, that would be a garbage deal. I'm really gonna have to look up that source again. This is just a news article I ran across back when California was having some power outages. So that's one thing you definitely want to look into as well. Yeah, Jeffrey Watts confirmed it. It was during the day, yes, when we lost all. She did too. So that's see, Jeffrey just confirmed it, not just some news article. Now, if you want, now it depends if you want to trust Jeffrey Watts, but I did see news articles. I mean, you probably Google and find it somewhere out there. I just don't want to do it live on my live stream right now. If you can, follow me on Facebook at Aquarium Thoughts. I have a page right there. If I do find the news article later, I will post it there, as well as I'll post it in the description of this video as well later on. So for those rewatching, it might actually be in the description. So look in that description for that, or check out facebook.com/Aquarium Thoughts, and it should be there. Good night, Delilah. Have a good night. Oh boy. But yeah, I think that whole thing is garbage deal. Why pay for all that if you can't stay lit? I think part of that delay, if I'm remembering the article correctly, I think it's because they didn't want a surge to happen when all the things went off or went on or something like that. I'm really have to find that article again. Probably should have did the research on that before that because I had a feeling I was going to bring that up when I was preparing for this. So definitely that's things you have to look into when you're dealing with this. Yeah, you might have solar. Will it be on when the grid goes down? Maybe not. So anyways, so I'm not quite sure what else did I miss? Floods is another issue. Floods is going to be a big issue if you're doing outdoor fish keeping, because floods, you do not want your fish to end up in the waterways. I really don't know how to prepare for that. Although heavy rains, you do want to prepare for that. What's going to happen if you have heavy rains, and where does the water go if it overflows? You do want to set up a system which will catch any fish that get out of your ponds. That way it doesn't end up in your natural waterways, is one concern that some people have. I know when I was talking to Jonah's Aquariums, they did bring that up, is make sure you have some system in place. So if you have heavy rains, where does the water go when it overflows? I know on my tubs, I do have holes in there, so it shouldn't overflow, but it should go through these little tiny holes on the side. And then my only concern then would be, of course, if there's any fry that get through those holes and whatnot like that. And Natural Aquarium says it will depend on the system. Many solar panels are tied into the grid. That's I think was exactly the issue on that. Yes, That's why I have a 5-mile hole in my basement to access geothermal energy. Excuse me. 5-mile hole. Yeah, I mean that's the whole other issue. I don't know many. I really don't know many houses that actually run geothermal energy around here. I know some countries actually do have a lot of stake in geothermal energy. I think Iceland is one of those places. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Iceland is one of those places that do have a lot of geothermal energy trapped in their underground that they actually use to actually power their grid. Hey, Chubbs, have a good night. What else is there? Hey, Rocco's, welcome back. Anyways, let's see here. Shipping has been a total disaster. Yeah, what else is there? Yeah, there's just certain things that you have to be prepared for. Jesse, I don't know. I know Jesse lives in Hawaii. I'm not sure how well he has to worry about the volcanoes where he's at. That's always another issue is, okay, what happens when a volcano erupts? If the lava flows in the way of your house, there's really not much you can do. Although I'm guessing if you have like some bad volcano activity, you're also going to have earthquakes, and you might actually have the power outages, which you still have to go to the whole power outage kind of prep work, which is like anything. That's the primary thing that's going to basically connect all these issues is, of course, power. Sacrifice it to the mountain. Let's see. Zip tie sponge into the side of the tubs over the. Yeah. I might have to do that. I might have to put some sponge in there, just to close up those holes where the water could still get through, but no fryer can get through. Not to the point where I have to worry about the fry. But the other thing you have to worry about is, I know in earthquakes, one thing you do have to worry about is water on the floor. You have to be prepared for that. I know when, if you watch my video on the earthquake, it was the 7.1 earthquake a few years back. I think it was in 2017, right around 4th of July. I put out a video. It's just what was caught on my closed circuit, my home security camera, because I was actually in Lake Tahoe at the time, and my tank was in Orange County. My tank level was low, but just from the video, you actually see the water sway in my tank. If my tank was completely full, I would have had water on the ground, even though that 7.1 was 150 miles away. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I mean, it was a little sway during a 7.1, but that 7.1 was 150 miles away. Yeah. Yeah, gonna look into a generator and switch box. Yeah. Switch box. Yeah. Make sure when you are doing the generators and whatnot, make sure you are doing it correctly. Tsunamis are a worry here too, which in that case, you're pretty much, there's really not much you can do, just making sure you're prepared for the aftermath. If you're going to get flooded out by the tsunami, then you're probably gonna have some power issues and whatnot as well. And what are you gonna do to keep the fish alive in your tanks? Let's see here. Let's see here. So anyways, I think right now, yeah, SOL. Yep. A lot of these things are gonna be out. You're basically gonna be SLL. No matter how much you prepare, you might still be in a situation where you're just SOL. Crap out of luck. I know if a big enough earthquake hit here, I would expect my aquariums to be on the floor no matter however I prepared them. I know I do have my 60-gallon Mabuna tank right here to where I'm pointing. You can't see it unless I tilt my screen like this. That I do have the stand attached to the wall, which I'm going to have to do more research. But like I said, certain forums said that's not a good idea because it could pull down these studs. But if that's the case, I probably have bigger fish to fry. The tank behind me, I really don't have that one secured to the I do not have that secured. I'm going on the basis of that one being wide enough. It's not going to be an issue. It might slide around. That'd be my bigger worry, is it's sliding around on me. Being wide like that, I don't see an issue. Where my 60-gallon is not as wide, taller, which I'm feeling is going to tip over. Especially the stand is taller than the stand back here. Tsunamis are no joke. Dave's right. You can't be prepared for one. Just be prepared for the aftermath. With a lot of these, that's basically you're really not preparing a lot in a lot of these instances for what actually happens. You're preparing for what happens after the fact. I mean, there's some prep work you can do for earthquakes, but primarily the main focus on the prep work, even if you're not talking about your fish tanks and whatnot, you're preparing for what afters. You're preparing. Okay, what happens if you don't have a house? Where are you going to go? You're preparing for food supply, medicine supply, and med supply does affect the fish as well. So you might want to have some fish meds on hand for that. Let's see. Sorry, I was looking at a message here. But you're preparing for the food, the water, the meds, and anything else that you have to be doing after the fact. Estonia, Dave, I may be wrong. Have you been resting well? You look restless. The last few nights I didn't really sleep that well, and I haven't been sleeping as much as I should be. Am I prepped? Food-wise, I believe I have enough food lying around for that. Water-wise, I do need to store up more water in that sense, which is probably good to start doing. So, yeah, I probably do need to be more prepared than what I am, which is, I think, what a lot of people is gonna have to do. I mean, not a lot of people. I really don't think that fall into that. At one point, I was really prepared for earthquakes. I had a lot of water on hand. I had a lot of food on hand, but life happens, and that kind of goes out the window. Oh, AC Aqua, am I a prepper? No, I'm not a prepper. I'm not to that extent crazy. I personally, my feeling, I just want enough to actually be prepared for at least 5 days, maybe. I'm not going to be prepared to live. I mean, I'm not going to be prepared beyond that as much as I probably maybe should be. But as long as it gets to the main thing, and then I at least gives you some time to actually, okay, what am I going to do after this? What am I going to do after my supplies run down? Yeah, sorry to hear that, Rocco. Rocco, he's a person who lives down in Texas, and he's had some issues with losing 79 fish. But yeah, that does hurt. Jesse, I really don't know how much I'm down today, but anyways, I think at this point, I'm going to switch gears. Probably go to a Hangout format. If of course, if you have any questions on any of this that we talked about, if you have any other ideas, still feel free to pop them in the chat. But to answer your question, Jesse, today I was on my main account. I was only down 7.5, so not too bad. So I definitely hope that those survive for you, Rocco. But anyways, I think right now I'm going to go ahead and do a small little giveaway. Of course, it's just a $10 gift card to my store, the aquariumthoughts.com. Now, keep in mind it only does ship US. Although if you are overseas, I can still work something out for you. So that's not an issue. So as long as my print suppliers can reach you, you still qualify. It's all good, Dave. It happens. Just hurt when I lost the Bosei, and two Lubies, a peacock and German blue ram. Rocco, if you have a PayPal, can you email it to me? It's dave@aquariumthoughts.com. If you have a PayPal me address, that'd be even better. I'll send you a few bucks if you want to do that. See, Sandy says, if you're afraid of pulling a stud out, secure to multiple studs. Yes, Sandy, I actually do have it attached to at least two studs. They're kind of a distance away, so I do have my stand attached to two studs. So I would not just do it to one. I would secure it to two at least. I'm yeah. So I definitely thought about that. I do have it attached to two studs. But yeah. Anyways, let me go ahead and get a. Let me go ahead and get this hashtag ready and go ahead and do this $10 gift card giveaway here. And let's see. What can I do? Okay, so today, let's see what we have here. Why isn't it showing up? I'm live. I hope I'm correct. Well, I guess I'll find out when I actually say what the, okay, it's there. Okay, so let's see here. Attach mods, keywords. Have a hashtag zombie. So if you want to be entered into this giveaway for the $10 gift card, do a hashtag zombie, and hopefully Nightbot is working. $10 gift card to aquariumthoughts.com. So let's see here. Let me see as this is going. Now that actually some people actually, okay, I see at least one eligible users. I'm not sure why it's not showing other ones. Okay, there we go. Now we're getting more. I already know. And of course, I apparently can't type today. One of those nights. Sandy, you might want to remove that space between the hashtag and zombie. But I mean, you're here. I'm probably going to mark you as eligible anyways. So, which is something I normally do anyways. Now, if you don't want it, I got to always do a reroll. So that's not an issue like that. And these gift cards, they do stack too. So if you do win the $10 now, you can always hold on to that. And in the future, if you decide, okay, I want to wait until I get another one, that's fine as well. Natural aquariums. Oh yeah, you won the $25 gift card to Amazon, if I'm correct. Yeah, probably. Yeah, like Stillian said, I'm not well rested. I really didn't get enough sleep lately. So the other night I didn't go to bed until like 5 or 6, just because I couldn't fall asleep. Sorry, yes, undead doesn't work. It's on the same principle, I suppose, but it is what it is. Let's see, it's let's see. Patty is thanking you, Alkaballs, for the excellent hygrometer that they can calibrate. Almost Mr. Draw. I went to fill up my water and got distracted by my fish. Now, did you also turn off the water so you're not constantly filling the tank and overflowing? Hopefully you remember to turn off the water. Don't be too distracted by the stream to forget that. Hey, Xanadudu. Hashtag zombie to be entered into the giveaway for a $10 gift card to aquariumthoughts.com, which I probably need to find more stuff on my site that are actually $10, but let's see here. Thanks, Lara. They are Ultimate Angels, and some of my pride in Alkaballs is eating dinner right now. S is about to do a Taco Bell run, so I guess S is hinting at doing the giveaway right now. That way you can actually go and run out and doing Taco Bell run. So let me go ahead and pull up the window here. Let me pull up Nightbot. George. Okay, I'm gonna say the people who have not entered. If you do want to enter, make sure you do the hashtag zombie. Here are the people who have not entered so far. Akaballs, George, you have not. Craig Broderick, you have not. Kara Corridorable, you have not. Natural Aquariums, you have not. But yeah, believe you said that you weren't. Let's see here. Yeah, just those 3 people. Right now we have 17 eligible users. Still time to enter. George Sanchez. Hopefully, let me see if you're on the list here. Yep, you're on the list. George Sanchez. George of the jungle. Happy as I can be. Okay, so it looks like the only person left is Aquaballs, which I know George is here. Rocco, do you have a PayPal me that I could post? Or if you do have that, please email me. I'll go ahead and post it for you. Let me see here. Let me make sure I have my emails kind of set here. Actually, let me do this real fast, Rocco. Rocco, I'm going to make you a mod. So if you do have that link, you post it. Let me do this real fast, Rocco. Okay, so Rocco, if you have a link to your PayPal, definitely feel free to post that in the chat for yourself. That's fine. So let me go ahead and pull this winner right now and see who's the winner. George has not entered. I don't know if he wants to be entered or not. Hey, Vanosky, how's it going? I just see your name on here. If you do want to be entered in the giveaway, make sure you do hashtag zombie. And let's go ahead and get this. Let's see here. Vanosky Stanks is in the house. I already saw him. Let me just go ahead and I'm gonna mark Alcaballs. He might be away from his computer. Vanosky, I'll go ahead and enter you as well. Now, if you decide you don't want it, I could always re-roll. Pepperland Creek's Aquatics is in the house. So basically, there we go. Let me go ahead and pull the winner right now. Of course, I can't see the live chat on Nightbot because that's not working right now for some reason. So anyways, here we go in 3, 2, and the winner tonight is going to be I Hate Stupid People, I believe, IHSP's Tank Tribe. Congratulations, you're a winner. You have 2 minutes to reply to the chat window to make sure you're here and make sure you actually win. Let's see here. Let's see. IHSP, are you still in the house? Hey, they're still in the house. So just go ahead and email me, IHSP at dave@aquariumthoughts.com, and I'll get that gift card sent out to you. That way, if you want to buy something on my website, you have that. Now keep in mind, if you want to stack it on something else at a later point, if you want to wait until you win another one, feel free to do that. So let's see here. Congratulations, Steph. Yes, you did win. You won something. Let's see here. See, so IHSP has claimed it. So that's that for that window. So I don't need that on there anymore. Remember about that water filling the tank. Let's see here. Now I guess that's gonna be it for that kind of section on that. But I'll post a link if anyone's come up here and chat. Well, pretty much as long as it's, I guess, clean, I suppose. Or if you want to talk about the subject up here, that's fine as well. Prep. There you go. I don't know if you want that window up there or not, but let's see here. Give me 1 second. I need to write that down myself. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. I will be right back. SSG wires. Alrighty. There we go. What else did I miss? Did I miss any other disasters that we could be preparing for, that we should be preparing for? Well, I'm really bad at not really planning these well. One of these days I'll get better at planning these things. So let me just go ahead and do this as well while I'm doing this. Yeah, I believe as a community we should probably help out each other, especially in times of needs. Let's see here. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about, discuss? Feel free. If you have any questions, feel free to actually put that in the chat as well, and I'll try to get to those if I can. Or if not, someone else in the chat will probably actually get it as well, hopefully. Let's see here. There we go. There you go. Just got to do one fast thing right now and send it to a friend. Let's see here. There you go, man. Hopefully that helped you out a little bit there. I'll make sure to get that out to you probably sometime tonight. How do you quarantine fish, shrimp, and plants, as well as set up and cycle quarantine tank? Mine seem to die when I put them in quarantine. That's always a good question. Personally, I'm really bad at that. I'm really bad at quarantining my fish. But though personally, I haven't ran into any issues with that, luckily, myself. Hey, Rocco, how's it going tonight?
How's everybody doing?
Good. So, you lost what, like 79 fish during that whole thing last week?
Yeah, 79. Look at this. This used to be full of fish.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that thing was chock full of guppies, and it's gone. I lost. Like I said, I lost my Du Bois. I lost. That one hurt, yeah, because that one cost me a ton of money.
Yeah, those ones always hurt. I mean, especially when they're harder to replace. I mean, the guppies behind you. I mean, it's a bad loss, but
yeah,
those eventually will repopulate.
Right.
And then you get a whole new fish colony going, and then you get their personality. It's going to be definitely different than the colony that you had before. That's going to change from that as well.
Right. Well, I mean, the whole purpose behind the guppies was, they started off as my girlfriend's fish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just got to be where I was like, holy cow, now we got all these guppies. What are we going to do with them? And I was like, well, we'll just take the guppies. And I know there's a couple fish stores in San Antonio that'll buy them. So that was going to be like, that's how we're going to pay for all the fish food and that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
And then when that happened, it was like, oh God.
Wow. So you didn't even get to that point where you're able to actually sell them off to do that.
I mean, I just got this little 10-gallon right here started with, basically it's almost like a whole strain of my own strain because they all look the same, so I'm going to try to key in on those certain colors and kind of, do that. And then I got a little 5-gallon over here that's just got a few of them in it. But it was nothing like I had though. Yeah. Nothing like I probably cost wise. I probably lost pretty close to $200 worth of fish
No.
altogether. I mean, I lost ottos, plecos, pygmies, a bunch of different like my OBs. I lost a couple of OBs. I lost another peacock.
Yeah.
The bad too is it was a dragon's blood peacock that hurt. You know.
And sometimes not. It's not even about the dollar amount. Sometimes it's actually the actual fish and their own personalities and personalities that you're not going to see in another fish, even if it's the same species. Sometimes,
right? Well, it's just like my Oscars. And they're only maybe 2-3 inches long, and they'll eat right out of my hand. You know. Yeah. But I mean, they all got a personality of their own. But but you're right. It's not really just the monetary value, but it was like all the work I put into raising them up. You know, and then getting up every morning and feeding them, and playing with it. I don't want to say playing with them, but you get to know them. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're like dogs.
Personally, it's a work. It's a work that you put in that's even the harder hit. It's just the work that you got to that point.
Right.
All over something that it just happens, and it's just not something planned. It's not something you actually okay. It's not changing situations where you actually rehome them fish and hope that someone actually finds them somewhere. But it's a fish that you raised and you just ended up losing.
Right.
Or something that just happens and the power goes out and gets too cold. The
bad part about it is we didn't even get the worst of it in my area because I'm about 40 minutes west of San Antonio. We didn't get the worst of it. I'm now in town, San Antonio. They got screwed with pretty bad. Houston got it pretty bad, and I just seen Goliad got it real bad.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I heard about the Goliad fish farm out there that they got hit bad.
Yeah, they got it real bad. But we would go. The power would come on for like 45 minutes to an hour, and then it'd be off for 2 or 3 hours. Then it'd come on.
I have one quick question for you. Is that email something that you want to be shared out?
I'm sorry?
Is that the email address that you gave for your PayPal? Is that something you mind being shared out, or is that something you want to be on the down low on that?
I don't care.
Okay, fair. So if you want to help out Rocco here, there's his PayPal. Send some money to actually help him out. He lost a lot of fish during that Texas thing. I mean, if you're not helping him out, hopefully you're at least finding someone in that community that actually had some losses during the whole Texas freeze. And, I mean, that doesn't have to be him. Just I think the fish family out there is decent enough to actually help people out. So that's what I want to make sure people are doing. And
well, yeah.
Someone we know. So
but I do want to say this though: don't feel like you got to. I mean, it's not. You don't have to do anything. But you have my email address. Just send me hey, hope everything's getting better or something. That to me is priceless. If you ask me, just the well wishes and the thoughts. Just the thought is amazing to me anyway. Yeah. So
I think a lot of people fail to realize that as well. Sometimes it's just the best wishes that's all that needs to happen as well.
Yeah,
monetary does help. It's like you're thinking about it, but it's not something that's really necessary out there. But it's good to help support people out there. And of course, I'm personally, I hope this is coming out of my mouth correctly for everyone out there. This is the one thing I'm bad at. In my ears, when I'm hearing it, it sounds bad. I'm not doing, and hopefully in that sense, but
right. Now, it devastated me, and I mean, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Scott over at Third Coast Aquatics.
Yeah.
Real good friend of mine. And if it wasn't for him, my stepson, my girlfriend, if it wasn't for those three and my little girl, even those 4 people, if it wasn't for those 4 people, you wouldn't even see this stuff behind me now. I was ready to throw in the towel, and they just, they kind of picked me up. So I owe them a lot of thanks. Believe me.
Yeah, that's another thing, guys. You want to reach out to these other people. Make sure you're reaching out to Third Coast Aquatics. He's down in Texas. I don't know how back he was at Tank Top Tropics.
Yeah, he lost some fish too.
Wish you well, and hopefully you keep your head up, and continue on. It's definitely going to hurt for a bit of time, and just got to keep your head up and make sure you just pull through this.
Yeah, we'll get through it. I mean, that's why we got a fish family, you know.
Yeah. Well, people are resilient. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it's just hard to get over that initial hump where it's like at some point you just want to grab the towel and just throw it. And
oh yeah. I mean, like that first night, and you know, I got friends up in Dallas. You know, I got friends up north. I got friends in Oklahoma. You know, and it just, man, my heart went out. You know, and I was sitting here, and I wasn't getting it near as bad as they did. But I will say this: the house I live in, it's an older house, and I mean, it was built. Was it like in the 40s? I think it was built. It's an older house.
Yeah.
But it is definitely not built for the cold. Let me tell you, because like I said, we would go. I think the longest we went was just under 3 hours. We went without power, and my Oscar tank down here got down to 56 degrees.
Wow.
You know, and then the power would come on. The heater would kick in and heat them up. Power would go out, and then it would dive down again and up and down. And I think that's what stressed these guys out. And their immune system just, you know, went
now,
in the toilet.
After this whole thing, do you have any plans to go out and getting a generator now?
Oh, absolutely.
One thing is get the generator and then also get some way to heat those tanks as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Because I was talking to her, I said we need to get a generator and a switch box. So that way, all I gotta do is go out there, crank that thing up, flip the switch, and poof, there goes the whole house back up again. You know what I mean? Because my biggest worry was having water to, you know, bathe and flush toilets, that kind of thing. Yeah. And you know, with the roads as nasty as they were, you know, my girl's like, well, we need this to eat, we need this, and I'm like, all right, fine, you know.
Yeah.
I was supposed to have been to physical therapy. I was supposed to go to doctor's appointments. I'm not in the best of health, I'll just tell you that. But
yeah,
you know, I just put all that stuff aside. That's all I got to take care of my family. You know, so I went out there and drove around and and I had to drive 3 hours just to get what was it, 8 gallons of water, and I paid almost $40 for it.
Wow.
I mean, water.
Always. I bet in the future you're definitely going to have like these jugs of water sitting around, making sure you have the water in your supply.
Already on it.
Yeah. I mean, I live in earthquake country, so that's the one thing they always tell us is have enough food, have enough medicine, have enough water.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it came so quick, you know, and I'm from the Chicagoland area, you know, so I mean, I'm no stranger to cold, you know, but I didn't think, oh, this is Texas, it ain't going to be that bad.
Not a lot of people in these warmer climates think of it. It gets cold down here in Southern California once in a blue moon as well. I mean, there's been snow down here before, so personally, I haven't experienced where I'm at since I've been here, but there has been instances in the past where you have snow on the ground here in Southern California. I know there's mountains to the east of me that sometimes get snow, and they're not high mountains either. See here.
I hate stupid people. I appreciate that. That's all nice of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think my email address. All you gotta do is just send me some thoughts and prayers, and I'll be extremely happy with that.
Yeah, I think power is probably the one thing that people don't think about in terms of preparing. I don't know many people with generators other than maybe Anthony.
Right. Well, I know
personally, anyways.
I'm definitely gonna be looking into for sure.
Yeah. I just have to convince my wife to actually spend the money actually having it for preparation. and what that actually entails to actually getting that hooked up to my house. Because that's the other thing you have to worry about too, is how you can connect that to your house when the power does go out.
Right. That's why I say you want to get a switch box. You know, if you get that switch box, all you got to do is just hook up the generator and boom, you're done.
Yeah, don't go out and buy the generator without researching on how to hook that up.
Exactly.
The last thing you want to do, you don't want to be sitting there trying to hook that up when you actually need it. You want to make sure you know how to run it beforehand.
Exactly. But no, it just, like I said, it was really frustrating. And I think Third Coast is in here right now. If it wasn't for him, kicking me in the butt, telling me not to give up, because like I said, I was ready to throw in the towel. I was ready to say, to hell with it, I'm done, I mean, it was really disheartening. It really was, but,
I mean, it gets disheartening just seeing one fish die for no reason.
Exactly.
I can't imagine a whole fish room.
Yeah, he pulled my head out of my third point of contact. That's for sure. But anyways, it is like, I know it's got to be after. Oh yeah, it's 12:18. I have to get up in the morning because I'm going to Houston this weekend. Go see my grandbaby. So awesome. I got to get water changes done in the morning.
yeah. Got to keep up on those, because that's the last thing you want to have in case of emergencies too. You don't have. If you don't stay up on top of them, you're not going to be able to do them in a disaster.
Exactly. Hey, Skipper, what's up, buddy?
It's easier than you think to hook up. Yeah, I mean, it might be easy to hook up, but I mean, even the easiest thing sometimes, if you're not knowing what you're doing, if you're in an emergency kind of situation, you're going to be bumbling around. You do want that practice beforehand.
Oh, absolutely. And I was just getting ready to say something, and I can't remember what I was going to say. Imagine that. I guess the old age is starting to catch up.
It happens. Hey, it has done. But it happens. I mean, even happens to our youngins.
Third Coast wants me to go down. When I go down to Houston, he wants me to pick up some crystals over at H-Town Guppies for him. That's clear by Sugarland, though, man. I'm not going over that far. That's more like west of Houston, on the west side of Houston. I'm going kind of on the east side of Houston. But I'm definitely I got plans. She doesn't know it yet, but I got plans of going to find me an aquarium shop over there.
Yeah, that's when I travel a lot. When I'm doing any traveling, I have to stop at least one or two here and there.
Yeah.
If I'm in a new area. I mean, even if I don't live there, even if I don't have plans of buying fish, I still like to see what they have in that area and how they're set up.
Sure, absolutely. Because I mean, it might be something new that you've never seen before. Yeah.
Different. I find that different areas have different fish that they bring in. Just sometimes they have different suppliers in different areas.
Right. So I'm just, like I said, I tell you what, everybody in chat might want to keep an eye out. I know a certain somebody that got some discus in today that he breeds, and I'd say probably within the year he's going to have some amazing fish to sell. So keep an eye out. I'm telling you, these things are beautiful. I mean, I saw him today, and I was just like, oh my God, I like that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one.
The collaboration of curiosities. Let's see. I'm really hoping that we don't get such extreme weather here when winter comes down under. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, too. I mean, this was an extreme weather event because basically it does not get cold down in Texas that often like that. I mean, it's happened in the past, but it doesn't normally happen, especially this bad. What actually made it worse this time was the fact that the power grid there actually went down as well with it. You need to plan your generator area, yeah. You need to go outside, preferably away from windows.
Yeah, right.
The way that it's going to find any exhaust that finds its way into your house, you want to make sure that's accounted for.
And whatever you do, two things I got to tell you folks. If you're ever in those cold weather situations, and I know some people are going to be like, really? You don't know that? Well, when we had this cold spike come through here, there's a lady, I want to say she was in Houston, I think it was. I can't remember. Lost all three of her kids and her grandmother.
Wow.
In a house fire because they were trying to keep the house warm. If I'm not mistaken, I think they were using, is it the stove or something like that? You're using the stove.
Using the stove?
Yeah, and then there's another family that went out in their car and turned the car heater on, and all of them died from carbon monoxide. Don't do that stuff, man. Go. You know the best places to go, honest to God, hospitals, churches. Go.
For a second there, I thought you were going to bring up the terracotta heaters that people are pushing over the internet.
You know, hey, and if you got a burn pit, throw some twigs and logs in that thing and stand around it and stay warm if you have to. But by God, don't go in your car and turn your heater on, and don't leave it in the garage and do that because you're gonna die. And then we had house fires, apartment fires. We lost, was it two or three apartment buildings in San Antonio? I mean, they were just like the whole building was gone. So this cold weather situations, man. If you don't know how to stay warm, stay off the road. Go and don't go in there driving around looking for this, looking for that. Be prepared for that. Don't go in your garage and start your car up. Don't start a fire in the house unless you got a fireplace. And if you don't have all that, go to a church, go to a hospital, go somewhere like that, or someplace. What do they call them? A mission or something like that. They have heat. You know what I mean?
Have plans. Know where you're going to go.
Plan B.
Don't think of the plan when it's happening.
Exactly. Be prepared before it gets here.
I stupid people has a wood stove and a quart of wood in the basement.
Yeah. It just, and I was seeing all these things coming up on the news tonight, man. I was doing something and I can't remember what I was doing. And my girlfriend had called me, yelled at me and said, "Come here, look at this." And it was that lady that lost her kids, and they were showing the pictures. And man, I couldn't even watch it, man. It broke my heart that bad. I can't watch that, and it just, all those people that, a 56-year-old man froze to death in his recliner. There's people out there that, needed to go to dialysis. They couldn't even go to dialysis. People have oxygen. They couldn't get on oxygen machines because they had no power to run them. Things like that. So you're right, absolutely. Have a plan B, have a plan C, have a plan D. Know
where you're gonna go, find and have a series of them just in case your first option is not available.
Right. If you know those storms are coming, get the hell out of there. Leave. Go before it gets there. And then if it's not so bad, you can always go home.
Now, did you try to do any prep work in your fish room before that all hit, or you didn't think about it?
Well, like I said, I really didn't. I was like, man, this is Texas. How bad can it be?
Yeah.
I've been here and they've had one day of cold weather. Whoop-de-doo. This lasted a whole week. And they were the rolling power outages. We never had that stuff before, ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my own. We'll just say I have my own opinions and thoughts. We'll just say that on that whole rolling power outage thing. But
there's theories out there. I just don't want to touch on them.
Exactly my point. But
years ago, California was in the same situation, and a lot of it had to deal with companies in Texas.
Yeah, green energy, fossil fuels, all that stuff.
Well, we had to deal with Enron.
Hey, don't go California in my Texas now.
But yeah, I mean, we have issues with power outages during the summer. Luckily, I haven't been hit by those yet, but
you're lucky. But like I said,
fortunately, I've been lucky. So
that's why I was telling my girl. I said, you know what, and I'm a military guy, so I mean, if it came right down to it, I got survival skills. We would have made it, no problem. You know what I mean? But I mean, I didn't want to have to go to drastic measures like, all right, go in the kitchen and go tear that table apart. We're burning it.
I'll find something.
Go to that extent. But I mean, if we had to, that's what would happen, But yeah. Anyway, like I said, just be prepared for stuff, man. That's. And as far as my fish room, I like I said, I didn't think much of it,
Yeah.
But what I should have done is I should have done water changes before it hit, because my water changes went almost 2 weeks overdue. you know, because 2 houses down from us there's a water main right there, and it busted from the froze, and we had, I mean, just skyrocketed water all over the street. And
yeah, water is interesting. Water is very interesting because basically when it evaporates, it expands. When it gets cold, it freezes, it expands. Normally it's the other way around. Normally when things get cold, normally they contract, but with water they expand. When they expand, it's going to bust pipes.
Yeah, we had a spigot on the side of the house busted over there, and then we had the water main bust over there, and then with that being so close to the house, you turn the tap water on and it would come out brown water. And I wasn't they were saying, "Oh, it's safe to drink, just boil it." Let's see your kids drink it. Let's see the senator drink it. Let's see the mayor drink it. When all those folks drink it, I'll drink it.
No, they have their stock waters. They have their stockpiles of water. You're just lucky that your pipes in your house didn't burst.
Oh, I know exactly. Like
that happened too.
That was it.
That happened all over the place too.
Yeah,
so people's pipes burst in the house, which is a major concern. Where in places where it gets cold, they always have to make sure that their house is heated. Otherwise, that's their concern that their water pipes are going to burst.
Right.
Especially that's one thing that they do when they actually prepare for the cold water. They empty out their water spigots sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes they'll do that, where like what we did, and I know it's what saved our pipes from busting. Is I just trickled them, there was just a slight little trickle coming out of every faucet in the house, every one of them outside. How that one over there expanded, I have no idea. But it didn't even really bust the valve itself. There's like a little diaphragm inside there. When you turn the spigot, the little diaphragm goes up and down. The little diaphragm snapped in half. Otherwise, that's the only thing that really busted. So.
Yeah, Poe says just start slowly gathering things each month, 10 to 20 gallons of water a month, food, etc. And before you know it, you'll be set. One thing you also have to be prepared as well in terms of that supply is make sure you rotate that supply as well, because you don't want expired stuff in that supply.
Yeah, canned goods.
Yep. Stuff that if they expire within a month and all that, you're probably fine. But if you get to a certain point, you get really hungry. You're still gonna probably eat those expired foods, but you probably don't want to store expired stuff.
Right.
So you want to kind of rotate that out from time to time. Right. You probably did the smart thing of actually having that trickle out, which probably relieved a lot of the pressure in your system.
Yeah, well, that's when I lived in Illinois. I lived there for 24 years before I joined the Army.
Yeah, so you knew what was going on.
That's what we had to do. But anyways, guys, I really do have to go.
Take care.
It was a pleasure, Dave. Thanks for having me up. I do appreciate you, man.
Talking.
Oh, you're a saint. I appreciate you. Thank you all, everybody. I appreciate your time. God bless.
Yeah, rice and beans, they last forever. Rice and beans, you also need water. So, but Kevin, just like I was saying, you're gonna want to switch them out constantly as well. One system that probably works really well, which is what I used to do. I use a water cooler in the house, so I used to have these. I used to have the big 5-gallon jugs. I used to switch those out and rotate those around and constantly fill those out and get that all switched out. Yeah, please don't drink the water. Also, I'll be done with that shrimp painting this weekend, so you can get your print. Let's see. Yeah, Poe just rotates like we're talking about. I've practiced, though. Our well is good for 75 gallons and then needs an hour to refill. So I guess if you have a well, you're pretty much set with water. Not a lot of people like myself. I don't have a well, so that's one thing I don't have. I don't have as a reservoir for myself, so I'm relying on the municipality to provide my water through their system. So if something goes out like an earthquake, I won't have any water, except for any water that I might have in my RE. my bottles that I have in here. But yeah. Good night, Rocco, and hope you have a good night and stay strong out there, man. Just as well as everyone else that's dealing with that kind of mess right now, and hope all goes well. Just keep your head up, guys. And prepare. Always message for the night is make sure you're all prepared for all this stuff, and that way when it does hit you, you're not gonna have to deal with a lot of this stuff. And pose no electricity, no water, have a solar panel for emergencies, and hopefully that solar panel is not connected to the grid where they could shut it off. Anyways, it's about 10:30 here. I think I said what I wanted to say. Let's see, have well, and I filled many tanks in a day. 100-gallon water didn't run out. Must have a good well. Yeah, having a good well probably does help. So anyways, let's see, post says, the go buy is 6 months of stored water. Yeah, that might be a good option. I know with all the earthquake prep that I hear, they say it's like 3 to 5 days, and that's probably lowballing it. But anyways, I'm going to head out of here. Good night, Thomas. Have a good night. And everyone else, have a good night as well. Everyone's headed with these disasters. Stay strong through them. Persevere. And anyways, as far as tonight, have a great night, guys. Thanks for joining me. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that like if you want to. Excuse me. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure you net that and feed the bell while you're at it. And have a good night. Thank you all.